Well, hello and welcome. This is Rabidon and this is Interstellar Pilot 2. Now, Interstellar Pilot and Interstellar Pilot 2 are mobile games, and mobile games generally tend to be a bit crap and, well, aimed at whales. There's only a handful of games I play on mobile, and this is one of them, and it got a Steam release. So I've shoved it on my account because it was only £2-3, and, well, I've gone into God mode and I've tried to make a scenario, and that scenario being a Battlestar Galactica inspired scenario. Now, on the original map, there is 13 systems, and the Sol system is one of them. So I went in, built a fleet, tried to use all the weakest ships for the civilian fleet, gave myself 2 of the main carrier type ships, the Magnuses as the Battlestars, and put some frigates and fighters on them, 6 each. I then basically used the God mode to move myself across the universe. I started with the bandit start to make virtually most of the universe hostile to me, and then I basically declared war on everybody who wasn't hostile to me, so that the whole universe is basically hostile, and I've got to get across it and find Earth, the Sol system. So yeah, you can see I've got a few ships all lined up, and that's basically how this starts. I'm down in the bottom corner of the map, just enjoying my fleet. I put quite a few in. The majority of them are carriers, haulers, again, hauler carriers, cargo ships basically. I've got some passenger type ships in there if I have got them. I've got like the weaker fighters and all that, and I've got the passenger models with less weapons and weaker shields and things like that. So that leaves me with really, what, two good ships. I gave myself the equipment module 1 so I could restock my missiles, but I ended up not really doing that. That would probably be something I would do in a far more strict playthrough. This is just me messing about, seeing if the scenario works. However, that being said, I've got 2 big ships, 2 capital ships basically, 12 decent ships. Oh, and I gave myself a Thunder class with a cloak and called that the Blackbird, because that was the stealth ship out of Battlestar Galactica, I think. So that's the only stealth ship I've got. I've made sure nothing else has got stealth. I can't just sneak past everything. Everybody can see me apart from that one ship. So that one ship has got to do all of my scouting basically. It's scouting the entire system. Every time we're going to a new system, that's got to scout. These are the systems I'm aware of. I used God mode to get rid of things, but you do get intel as the game goes in the Interstellar Pilot game settings in game, you know, the way the game does it. As your ships will hear rumours and stuff, and then your map will fill out. So there's only so much you can do to make it exactly how it is. But I wanted to try a scenario of a fleet fleeing across a hostile universe, so that's what we did. Now, it's got a nice cinematic camera occasionally, if you can line your ships up nicely to get decent shots, as you can see. Oh, look, I just crashed into that one that looks like a passenger fighter jet. But yeah, there's ways and means around this. In the first system, we started in this wolf system, and as you can see, there's some Kikari rebels. I don't know what they are. They might be a polite faction normally. I made them all hostile, didn't I? But yeah, there's some Kikari, so they're inside a nebula cloud. So after this Blackbird, as you can see on the screen, had gone around and scouted, parked him up near the wormhole I found, and as you can see on the screen now, there's an equipment shop nearby a starbase. So I know that that's there. Sent the Blackbird through to this next, what would you call it, sector? Unknown 426L, and, well, off he goes to scout that one. I then get the 2 Battlestars, shall we say, and the civilian fleets. I've got 7 of them, roughly about 50 ships, and get them to go through, sneak through. Well, I say sneak through. I get them to try and get through the wormhole. That's going to have to basically be our jumping. Because, you know, that is our fast mode of transport from sector to sector and loading up a new map. As you can see, I'm trying to sneak around the outskirts side. Magnus, I have named it Galactica just for fun. And I think I've probably put double L, haven't I? Is it 1 L or 2? Ah, never mind. Who knows? Now, what I can tell you is, yeah, we didn't manage to get all the way past without attracting some attention. So the Kakari sent some of their, not the main capital ships. I've got 2 of those. They sent the 2nd tier capital ship and a load of fighters out. So I had to leave my 2 Battlestars behind while the civilian fleet jumped through the wormhole. And yeah, as you can see, I'm just scanning around, checking the map. It's more fun to play than it is to watch, I bet. I don't know. No. Is yeah, my Orion, my frigate that was on one the Pegasus or the Galactica is getting attacked. It's very statty, very screeny, very RTS / yeah, you're going to have a lot of menus to navigate. If you don't like tons of menus on the screen, tough. But yeah, so away we go. Some more nice cinematic camera work. Woo! Reminds me a little bit of Empire at War. Empire at War was a good one. If you could line up your ships in a nice way and then stick cinematic camera on, sometimes it felt like watching the stuff in 70s movies with the dogfighting. So yeah, so we're back on board the Pegasus now, and that's my equipment dealership. So that can, I've chosen one of them because the whole idea is if the Pegasus gets destroyed, I can't replace my fighting ships. Because if I remember correctly from the show, the Pegasus had the ability to make new ships. Galactica didn't, it was too old. So Pegasus had to survive in order for me to replace any ships I lost from from system to system. I also had a rule in place that my own rule, the game doesn't stop me, but my own rule in place was if I lost any ships getting through a system, I couldn't replace them at the start of the next system. I had to get through that system first and replace the ships in the 3rd system, if you know what I mean. The one after. So lose all my ships in this sector, got to get through the next sector without any fighters or frigates while they get rebuilt, so to speak. That was the rule I imposed on myself. And it's yeah, we kind of did get attacked by a lot of the Kakari. As you can see, they sent one of their Battlestar type ships out, their Magnuses, and we started losing ships. So I did think about putting my my carrier fleet, so to speak, the 6 ships I had on both of my Battlestars, into fleet formation, because I just had them programmed with protecting the ship that they belong to. The trouble with that is they would just stay in the fight and get themselves killed, whereas if I had them as a fleet, I could have cleared their orders and told them to flee across the system to the wormhole. But there was enough micromanaging for just the first time through the game trying a scenario like this, so I was like, I'm not micromanaging it that much this time, because there are ways and means of doing it. As you can see, I've now gone into the sector map and it's showing you the big ships, how we're all positioned. As you can see, the civilian fleet is fleeing through the wormhole now, so that's the civilian fleet, all 7 of them through. I think I sent the Blackbird through. Yeah, I did send the Blackbird through already. So then it was a case of getting the Pegasus and the Battlestar Galactica to flee. Pardon me. And yeah, as I was saying, their defense ships, their carrier fleets, so to speak, I didn't have them programmed as fleets. I just had them assigned to the ships and set to protect them. Probably should have set them as fleets, like I say. But what happened is, as you can see, because they weren't set as fleets and it would have been too much micromanaging messing about, because I already had enough as it was trying to maintain the scenario, because it's not a program scenario. The game is getting updates with its own scenarios. I think it's got 2 so far, but this sort of scenario I wouldn't mind adding in. I managed to get the Pegasus to flee first, and I do believe the Galactica should be following. And don't worry, I know you can see the autopilot in the top left. You don't have to fight with that. You can stay in control of one single ship if you want, and fire all the weapons that are on the right hand side of the screen manually. I was just letting the AI do it. So, yes, the Galactica now is following the Pegasus. The Pegasus has got through to the next system with the civilian fleet. And, yeah, there's... What is this? I think this was the last Orion frigate I had left. And dies in a second. There's a couple of abandoned ones. They might have been mine, they might have been theirs, but there was too many. I could have claimed them if I had enough of a fleet. As you can see, I'm about to die with this particular unit. And I will respawn back to my mothership in a second. The game will let you stay to one ship and put permadeath on. So if I decided that I wanted to fly around in a fast frigate and let my motherships do their own thing, if my fast frigate got killed and I was in it at the time, that's it, permadeath. Game's over. It doesn't matter how big a fleet I've got. I was on board that shit when it got blown up. So yeah, there's things like that. You can. It's quite a free game in terms of setting it up how you want. I thought I actually died quicker than this. It must be coming soon because I have got a shield missing. And oh, there we go. Yes. And the Galactica is the last Magnus, the last ship in the sector. Shields are doing well. There's an Overlord coming after us. Where is the wormhole? Can't be that far away from it. There, yeah, gone past it. Right, so luckily, I think it was there was the one big capital ship and two smaller ships chasing me, was it? Or was it two capital ships? Luckily, they were far enough away that I managed to make my escape. Eventually. It is coming. It is coming. There is an escape here somewhere. So there it is. There is the wormhole. We're virtually on top of it. Have they stopped chasing me? Now, I've filmed this in advance and I am putting commentary to it in the editing process. Was it this sector where they didn't chase me? Through the wormhole? I think it was. So yeah, there you see the civilian fleet and the Pegasus waiting for me. And the Blackbird's off somewhere finding the next wormhole. Now, like I say, I threw this scenario together quickly. I threw out a load of the lower tier ships and called them a civilian fleet, the weaker ships. You know, all the enemies I'm going past are using the stronger fighters, the stronger frigates, things like that, the more advanced ones. I basically use like the old ships. But I could have even the God mode will let you go into each individual ship if you wish and completely change its weapon system. I could have upgraded every ship to the max. I could have downgraded them all. Maybe in future, if I did this again to see how micromanaging I could do it, I would get rid of all the fighter classes, just have the haulers and the Creons and a couple of shuttles. Have one or two of those fighter ones that look like planes that look similar to Air Force One or whatever it was called in Battlestar Galactica. And remove all the weapons. Maybe just leave some mining lasers on some of them or something daft like that, and have a fleet that's completely defenseless apart from the other two ships that's supposed to be defending it with their fighters. And then that would have been more interesting, because as it is, that fleet of 50 weak ships can defend itself against one or two good ships. It's only when I go into a system where 10, 20 good ships turn up that they start getting into trouble, and I have to flee and leave the two Battlestars, so to speak, fighting them. So yeah, we're here, sitting in just outside of the new wormhole after we jumped to this sector. As you can see, the Blackbird is tooting about trying to find the next wormhole. And I'm going to change its orders. Do I leave it on the screen this time and put it as a patrol? So you can leave it exploring, or you can start giving out patrol orders, so you can try and cover as much space as possible in a organised fashion, so to speak. You tell the computer where you want it to search instead of it just flying around in circles of its own design. The patrol order is quite useful for that sort of thing. And this is another feature, the hypersleep. It basically allows you to fast forward time, which is very handy when you're just playing a general universe game and you start as something like a small trader, because you're not going to get any decent ships or stations for ages. So sometimes you can like save up enough money, buy 2 or 3 ships, put them in automatic trade mode, put it into hypersleep, leave it for a couple of days, get 2 or 3 million pounds or credits or whatever you want to call them, dollars, and then build a bigger fleet, do it again, build a bigger fleet. Because the game will give you messages while you're in hyper sleep mode and tell you if anyone's attacking you and things like that, so you can always come out if that's the problem. And you will get kicked out automatically if you're in control of the ship that gets attacked. So yeah, that's just a way of fast forwarding time if you need to make money or travel the universe quicker, and then do what you want to do at the other end when you get there. So the Blackbird, I let it go around the system, brought it back to the 2 fleets. Did he accidentally go into that wormhole and I didn't notice? Or is this the new wormhole that I need? No, this is the new wormhole. Yeah, we did find the wormhole, and we flew over to it, and that's where the Blackbird ended up, in the next system. So now, what are we on? The Pegasus? Yeah, we're going to send the Pegasus through. And then the civilian fleet and the Galactica with it. And send the Blackbird to go and find the next system. So yeah, as I was saying previously, for the first system, the plan was, if I lost ships, even though the Pegasus in the show could build new ships, I wanted to give myself a limit to how quickly I could get them. I couldn't just respawn them straight away. So we've flown through the previous system. Luckily it was an empty system, so that wasn't too bad. Now I'm going to replace my 12 fighting ships that go on my carriers. So that's basically what I did. Started, and I tried to keep it where I kept it. It was weaker, the weaker ships, the weaker frigates. The weaker frigates, but I did allow myself a couple of the flyers, which is the top tier fighters. Obviously none of them were allowed cloaks, and I chose the basic top tier fighter. So yeah, we're in this system, and Lambda are hostile to us. Hopefully, is everybody okay? But the Creon type that Lambda's on there. That is a trader ship, so we should be relatively safe from that. Oh, they got a flyer XL. Oh, okay. All right. And the space state. Yeah, they've got quite a few ships. So same again. Keep ourselves protected. Get the civilian fleets to one side. Keep them away. Like I say, it would have been very interesting had I done this in a way where I'd spent the silly amount of time it would have took me editing every ship to have no weapons. But although I will have to double check if God mode will let you spawn variants that you create yourself, because you can create your own variants of ships. You can kit them all out, or you can strip them bare, and that's normally in the normal game when you go to a space station to buy a ship. You can have a list, and the variants of the ships that you build are in there. So, see, in the normal game, I've got a fighter that's completely maxed out on energy weapons. I've not put any torpedoes or missiles on it at all to keep the hassle of having to go back and restock them. Granted, they don't do as much damage, but they can just stay out full whack. Get 2 or 3 fleets of those going around with 2 or 3 Magnuses. Yeah. That's just the lazy version now. You could put plasmas on them. Plasmas instead of lasers. And they do a bit more damage, but same idea. So we're in this system now. Is this the 3rd or 4th system? 4th, I think. We had a bit of a fight from stuff, but we managed to fight them off with sneaking around. A nice pan of the thingy system again. Cinematic camera. Now this type of system that you're looking at now, as you can see the clouds, the nebulas and things, and the clouds in the background. The background, what would you say? The background art, shall we say? Environments. Some systems are green, some systems are blue, some are red and things, and so and so. Even if you don't physically, even if you don't find the wormholes on the scanners yet, sometimes if you're in the right colour system, you can see it by the naked eye. If you go into a system with no dust clouds or no nebulas, sometimes you can just sort of scan the camera around, and even if the ship in the game itself isn't picking them up, you can say, oh, I think there's one in that direction, fly over there, and a lot of the time you'll find it. So that's a nice little trick too. Excuse me. So, we're in the 3rd system. Blackbird is still flying around. There's certain areas where I cheated a little bit, so to speak. The main game's main universe is set. The Sol system's always in the same place. So if you know where it is, you know, well, I'm trying to go over there. That wormhole will take me in the wrong direction, sort of thing. So, yeah, for the purposes of testing, could I get through a load of hostile sectors in this manner? I sort of cheated and limited the amount of sectors I went through. Now, if you was to put the custom universe option on and say, like, put it on 64 sectors, then put the discover everything on, choose a sector, and then clear everything so that you don't know the path there, but you know what planet you're looking for, and you just had to figure out where it was, and you started on the east side or the west side, and it's like, well, I know it's in the north or it's in the south. You'd only have a direction to go, and that's it. You'd have to find it. That would be far more difficult. Only thing is, I don't think the Earth Sol system is one of the systems that shows up in the custom universe option. I've never seen it spawn yet, and I've played quite a few. So, for the purposes of it being a Battlestar Galactica inspired flee across a dangerous universe and find Earth, I stuck to the main one of only 12-13 sectors. It's in the top left somewhere next time we go onto the sector map. So we're heading in that direction. Now we are in the Helmus system. There's a nice big asteroid dust field, and as you can see, the further you go into the universe, the more factions you will find. Major, minor, freelancers, bandits. And to keep the whole concept of like being attacked at every turn, I had to keep going into the menu and basically declaring war on everybody, because some factions didn't care because I'd left their section of the galaxy. So I had to keep, right, I'm fighting you, I'm fighting you, I'm fighting you. So if I ran into any of their ships, I'd still have the whole... So yeah, it's an interesting scenario, but there was a lot of micromanaging, a lot of fannying about. There was a lot of micromanaging, a lot of fannying about. So yeah, it's an interesting scenario, but there was a lot of micromanaging, a lot of fannying about. A lot of micromanaging, a lot of fannying about. So yeah, it's an interesting scenario, but there was a lot of micromanaging, a lot of fannying about. Yeah, nice fleet. Like I say, I know they're all weak ships, but because I had about 50 of them, because I was trying to mimic like the 50 ships out, it was like what's the way, like a swarm of bees really. If I didn't get attacked by 5 or 10 decent ships, they still took care of them. So the scenario could be tweaked to make it more accurate and more difficult, is what I'm getting at. I could really go to town on the machistic side of it and be like, strip them of the shields, put the slowest engines on some of them, the slowest generators. Give them no weapons, or just let them have mining lasers and one weak laser for hitting asteroids if it's in the way, things like that. Really, really, really weaken that civilian fleet, shall we say, in inverted commas. Because technically the game doesn't have a civilian fleet. I've just made them civilian fleets by choosing the weakest ships. So yeah, in reality, I'm going across the universe with 2 capital ships and about 60 fighters, but only about 12 good ships. And even then, they're not really. I think the Orions are the best fighter ships I've got. The Orions and the Flyer X's, not Flyer X's, Flyer A's. They are the best ships I've got. Otherwise, I've got that one Thunder that I use as my stealth ship, and I give myself some of the Ventures and what are the other ones called? There's 2 other small frigates you can buy from a trade station. I give myself those because they're not as strong or as big or fast as the Thunder or the Orions. So yeah, other than the Orions, that one Thunder that I keep out of the fighting anyway, and the 4 Flyers I keep myself. The rest of them are all weak ships. I just should have took the weapons off them, because there's that many of them. They can still do enough damage against only 2 or 3 ships. There's a variation on a theme here. I'm just rambling really, but you can see what's going on. I go into a system. I have to find out where things are. I mean, we're back on the Blackbird now. We're going past some space stations while I look for the next wormhole. See, because of the dust clouds are a pain in the backside if you're just trying to spot the wormhole by your eyesight alone. You do have to search for it. Now, in Helm's system, again, this was another one where there were a lot of fighting to protect the thingy ships. What did I... Oh, yes, that was it. I didn't take the weapons, you know this. I didn't take the weapons off the civilian fleet. What it did do was go into its AI settings and put them all on minimal aggression. So they'd only fight back minimally when ships were right on top of them. They wouldn't break formation, go chasing ships halfway across the galaxy and all that routine. They wouldn't intercept ships. I literally had them just on defending themselves when things were on top of them, and not being that aggressive with it either. But there was just a lot of them. So yeah, even though there was just a lot of them, I might be better off either turning off their ability to fight back completely if I can't be bothered removing the weapons, or removing the weapons in case you forget. So we're just turning off the ability to fight back would probably be the easiest way to do it. Get all those ships, don't have to worry about taking the weapons off them, just pretend they're civilian ships. Go into the AI settings for those fleets, turn aggression and interception combat AI off, and they'll just sit there and wait to get destroyed. Should have done that really, thinking about it now. Too late. But I didn't really want to do that, because I did sort of want to take the attitude of the fleet had, or the civilian ships had very, very basic defences in case they got attacked by pirates or something. That's why I just turned it down instead of turned it off. So we're in... Ooh, are we still in Helmets now, I think? No, Androla. We're in the Androla one we got through, but this is another one now. Ah, this was the big... This was the big problem. I think this was the TEF home system, or was it one of their... Was it their second system? Now, the TEF is the Terran Expeditionary Force in the lore of this game, Interstellar Pilot. And they're basically like the main faction that all the other factions broke off from us. But there is actual lore. I've not read it properly. I just enjoyed the game. But at the start of like this type of not the custom universe. At the start of a normal universe game, they would probably be the biggest faction. So basically, I've flown into the strongest faction's main or second sector. So, yeah, I've got a lot of resistance here. And, yep, a bit of cinematic camera to enjoy the fighting. Even though they all crash into each other. Because we're on a 2.5... 2.5 dimension plane. 3D models flying around on a 2D plane. Yeah. See the bounties at the top there? The top left where it keeps saying you're getting this bounty, you're getting that bounty. That is one of the other reasons why the further I got into the game, or the further I got into this scenario I created, I had to keep declaring war back on people. Because they did become friendly with me because I destroyed one of their enemies and they paid me a bounty. They'd be like, oh, you're working with us now. It's like, no, I declared war on you. Just because I did a few favours for you, which was the enemy of my enemy, you think I'm now your friend. No. I'm still declaring war on you so that you will chase me if I come near you. So as you can see, we're in the Androla sector. We've had a bit of fighting, and the Blackbird still hasn't found the what do you call it? Still hasn't found what it's looking for. The wormhole. It's got an RU2 on us. Come on, move to. Now, I do know that if you give orders that the AI can't fulfill, it will say can't do this. It's the route's blocked or it doesn't know the route. I'm not sure if that works if it knows that a sector exists. I haven't tested that. Hopefully it still turns around and says can't get to that sector because it doesn't actually know where the wormhole is in the previous sector for getting there. So yeah, as you can see, we eventually found a wormhole. I think that is the right wormhole. Yeah. Blackbird found it, and we came and started looking after it. Do enjoy the cinematic camera, and the models have been updated compared to the first game. Yeah, there's probably people who could tell you more about this game. I'm more a case of like, look at the scenario I've tried to create. I think the next one I'd like to try and create, if I did do another, just look at what you could try and do with this game, would be a Voyager, Star Trek Voyager themed scenario. But maybe do that with like a 64, do that with a 64 custom universe one. Choose one sector, fill it with like a load of my ships, or maybe even choose 2 or 3 sectors, call it the Federation area, and say right, they're all there, and then just put clear the sector information, apart from where the Federation fleet would be, because that would respawn because you're in those systems, and then plump down. I'd say, ooh, what size ship would you use for Voyager? A destroyer, or is that still too big? Because Intrepids aren't that big. They got bigger ships, but then maybe a destroyer. You want to be able to fight off You'd want something. I mean, it doesn't. The ship is not going to look like Voyager, but the point I'm making is you'd want something roughly in line, similar size or strength in this navy to that navy. So, yeah. And then choose a ship class, fill it up with missiles, and so that you've got your photon torpedoes and so on. But then, what's it called? What would you say? Never renew your torpedoes. No cloak, one ship class. You're not allowed to buy new torpedoes for that ship, and you know, you're not allowed to be friendly. Every time you go into a system, declare war or something on the ships in the system or something. I don't know. Because Voyager's not the same as the Cylons. Not every species they encountered was hostile. I mean, for the purposes of TV, a lot of them were, but they did encounter some nice people. They didn't go toe-to-toe with other ships and bounce their noses off each other, though, either. That's the mobile side of the game coming out. Yeah. So, I found a wormhole, but I know that one goes in the wrong direction for the Earth system, because I know what the normal map is. So that NT6VGO2 system wormhole is not the one we need. There is a second one in here, I'm sure there is. Or is it? Am I thinking? Or was it this one, or was it the next one? There is a system where I'm looking for a wormhole for a while, thinking the one I've already found isn't the right one. Might be this one. So as you can see, I've hidden the civilian ships off to one side. I could drag them back over, but they'd help me win the fight too much, because there's just so many of them. Even though the AI is turned down on aggression. So yeah, I've got the two Battlestars, so to speak. Well, this one's come out of the fight in a little bit, but I've left its carrier fleet behind, which isn't a fleet. There's all the civilian fleets. I made them fleets, but like I say, should have made the combat ships into 2 fleets of 6, and then I could have kept an eye on them both. But no. So yeah, it might be that Dime Napper. That's where we're going next on the sector map. Then when it came up, it might be the wormhole we've already found, but of course there was another one. So no, who knows? Yeah. Where are we up to? Yeah, we're just flicking through the fleet. Yeah, I've cleared both of those orders, and I'm going to get those ships to try and disengage from fighting the TEF. Yeah, so as you saw on the sector map then, the line going off to the right suggested that wormhole was for that direction. So there is another wormhole in here somewhere that we're looking for. And the two Battlestars, that aren't Battlestars, the two Magnuses have managed to fight off the TEF for now, while the civilian fleet has stayed out of it. More to the point, I've just distracted the TEF forces from going over there to fight them. They've stayed over here fighting them. So where are we up to? So yeah, there's New Haven in here as well. So there's more than one faction in this sector by the lots of things. So there's as you can see the little green. You can see the little green, and I don't mean Dende, the little green wormholes on the screen in some sectors, even if you can't detect them. Is that one there behind? No, that's the fleet. There's the blue dots, which are mate. There's a green There's a green fleet. There's a green wormhole behind that. We're just trying to find the last wormhole. Yeah, and sometimes to be fair to the AI, if you say run away, or try and if you say come over here, but it's getting attacked, so it'll just change its mind and keep fighting. Because it's like, if I run away, they'll just take my shields down on my back end and kill me. So the AI is like ignores you sometimes. You'd have to go into its settings, turn its combat AI completely off, then safely across the system and hope you didn't get destroyed while you were trying to run. I mean, not that you can't do it. It's just if you leave the combat AI on, the AI will go, well, I'm being attacked, so I'm going to fight back. Sod coming over there just because you want me to. And you can't blame it, really. Oh, I thought that was a wormhole. Then you little bugger. It's just your green plasmas. So yeah, we're on one of the Orion ships now. One of the Pegasus or Galactica's frigate ships. Oh, was it? Yep, there it is at the top. So we have indeed found Pioneer. Yeah, they'll be safe against that. So now let's order the civilian fleet into the wormhole G4F2 FZ22. Whether we get any of these, shall we say, whether we get any of these carrier fleets to follow the two Battlestars through the wormhole or not, probably not. They'll probably stay behind and die, sacrificing themselves like they did in the first sector. Because, like I say, I didn't put them under a fleet so I could control them. I just assigned them to ships with the order of protecting them. But, yeah, don't worry. All these dots on the screen aren't just ships. A lot of the square ones are the cargo that ships that have exploded have left behind. Whether that's weapons or tradables. Because it's basically like an empire building game. RTS / RPG if you want it to be, if you select one ship and never leave that ship, because as you can see I keep changing ships. I've got not transport. You can switch ships. You can do it where you're locked into one ship if you want to, and do it more like an RPG with a building game aspect to it. Now that one is quite funny and difficult because you can't. I think you can now. You can go into orders and... Oh, hang about. Is this the Galactica? Is the Galactica going to make it? And I don't think the Galactica's... No. Galactica was taken. So in my version of the story, the Pegasus survived, not the Galactica. Oh dear. Battlestar Pegasus. There you go, new story. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so we're going through that wormhole. So, oh yeah, you can stay locked into a ship. Now, previously you had to go and dock with space stations in order to do things like buy new ships, build the space station, things like that. But I think you can give orders remotely now, even if you're locked to a ship. So that's probably what I'd do on the Voyager scenario if I did that. Set up a Federation fleet and headquarters and star bases somewhere else. Make a 64 sector map. Stick a relevant sized ship across the galaxy. Call it Voyager. Put permadeath on. Lock myself into that ship so I can't teleport out. And then, with the limited number of missiles that I've got, see if I can get home. That might even be more fun. That might even be a more fun scenario than this one, because this one does have a lot of micromanaging. I think the developer would be better off sort of like putting this type of scenario in the game and programming the AI to never become your friend and things like that. Have someone chase you all the time. It'd be easier than micromanaging it, constantly making everybody your enemy again, rebuilding ships yourself instead of being able to spawn them inside your EQ, things like that. Turning off the ability to build space stations. Because I could technically go into a sector, build a space station, repair all my fleet, build a load more ships, and then carry on. I gave myself 2 million credits just in case I decided that when I found the solar system I'd build a base and things like that, but I thought, no, keep it more. You get there, you've done it, you made it. See if it works. And I think we're down to about... we've got about 10-15 minutes left of this, I think. We're in the home stretch. We're getting towards where we need to be. We've lost the Galactica. And we've made it to the Androla system. As you can see, the Androla system is calmer. It has got enemies in it, but it's calmer. But again, we're back at the situation where we lost all the carrier fleet too on the Pegasus. And the Galactica's carrier fleet, none of them survived. So I've got all the civilian fleets that aren't technically my fighters, and just the Pegasus and the Blackbird left. So I've got 2 fighting ships technically, plus the civilian fleets will fire on anything that gets close enough. So again, we're in a system, luckily it seems quite calm, where we've got to get across and find the wormhole in this system, get in and out without any backup, so to speak. Because my own rule was I couldn't build replacement fighter ships until I'd crossed another sector. So is this the next one? This was quite an easy one, as you can see, because it was red and purple hazes. And no dust cloud, really, not a big one. The wormhole stood out, so we were able to sort of just sneak around it really quickly, get to the Dimapa sector. And now, no, I'm about. Oh, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. That was still being in Androla. This is the sector I can't build any new ships in, I think. I've got to go across this with just the Blackbird and the Pegasus. There is a system where some pirates attack us, and they're weak enough that we were able to disable their ships and claim them ourselves. So we got a few extra defenders for that system. It might be this one. Yeah, it's weird doing this in retrospectively, shall we say, putting the video audio on top after you already know how you've played it. However, my long-time viewers of the channels know that I've decided, because of my daughter's autism and my wife changing her job again and everything else, to try and do it this way, because I'm not getting solid blocks of time to sit down and make long form videos at the minute. So all this footage took about, I only played this game for about 3 hours for this entire scenario, even with the micromanaging. And it's probably only going to be about an hour long video once I've cut and chopped down a lot of the fat, even though I've left plenty of fat left in. Because if I really cut it down to just the bits you needed to see, it looked like a load of spreadsheets for about 30 minutes. Oh look, click menu, click menu, click menu. If you wouldn't have any of these nice beauty shots of the ship flying and things like that, which make it more interesting. So, yeah, I think this was the system where we just had the Blackbird and the Pegasus as defenders. Luckily, as you can see, it was quite a quiet system after we'd just been in the headquarters for the Terran Expeditionary Force. So, yeah, the Terran Expeditionary Force took the Galactica. Oh dear. And as for headcanon, they're not Cylons. Well, just pretend they're all human ones. Oh, hey, there's a green wormhole to the right. Off the starboard bow. Go on, over there. Off you go. No. So yeah, that's basically it really. Went through the system, decided to fly. Very quiet system, isn't it? I didn't realise it was this quiet when I left it in cinematic mode. Got lucky, really, considering I just lost the Battlestar and 12 fighting ships. And I only had 2 ships left, and one of them I wanted to keep in stealth mode to be my scout. I got lucky because, you know, the Pegasus here that's on the screen at the minute, the shields were damaged, the hull was damaged, it needed time to heal up and repair. So, actually worked out alright in the end, didn't it? Turned out nice again and all that. Are we not yet there? I edited this footage. Did I really leave such a long flying sequence in? Apparently I did. Well, that's okay. Shows you just how relaxing I needed it to be. It's like the ladder after that fight against the end in Metal Gear Solid 3. An hour and a half if you the first time you played it probably, and then it's like a 10-minute walk and climb up a ladder just to calm you down. Oh, engines have stopped. We must be close. No, yes, maybe. What a thrill. No, I won't do that again, I promise. Right, so yeah, Die Napper. Die Napper? That's what Vegeta would say. Die Mapper. Is arc cloud type thing over there. What do you call them? Asteroids mining field. Blah blah blah. Wormhole, 3 kilometers away. Majority of the fleet's there already. And an enemy. There is an enemy in this system. Are they going to be a problem? Or can we get through this system without losing any more ships? Black Sail. They're one of the bigger pirate factions, I think. Or is it pirate faction or just an evil corporate empire faction in the game? Don't know. Like I say, I mean, I probably could have cut this down a bit more still, but like I say, I just wanted to show the game off a little bit. There's my civilian fleets. Lots and lots and lots of them. They're all going to go through that wormhole, and I'm just going to park the Pegasus between the wormhole and the outpost. And hopefully, nothing will attack. Most of the time, the game has a 1 to 2 kilometer or K interception range for factions. Some of them will come out and attack you earlier, others will wait until you're on top of them. There's not ridiculous levels of variation, but just enough. Now I'm inside an attacking range and it sounds, I mean, yeah, the fighting music has kicked in, but that is probably because it's taken the attitude of I'm close enough to the starbase, or the outpost, shall we say. No ships have come, so that's a good sign. Just sit here and keep sending the civilian fleet through. Say that quickly. Civilian fleet through. Civilian fleet through. Yes. Blah, 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 blah. Now, as you can see, it's taken a while. They should have all gone through, but I've got the civilian fleets set up where I tell Fleet 1 where to go, then Fleet 2 follows Fleet 1 because it's set to protect it. So that's what I did in terms of like letting them fight things that got close enough. Protect the first fleet, and then Fleet 3 protects the second fleet. And then 4 protects the third fleet. So there's only Fleet 1 not set to protect because that's the one that I go into manually and say, fly here, fly there. So yeah, the fleets got through, and now I'm going to send a Pegasus through. And this next sector is where I can spawn some more fighting ships because I've stuck to my you have to go through one sector before you're allowed to do it. So as you can see, I've already spotted a green one off to the left. And oh yeah, the usual. Send the Blackbird off to find the wormholes. There was one off to the left already, so that should show up in a minute. But while the Blackbird goes looking for that, we will respawn. Pardon me. We shall respawn 6 ships because there's only the Pegasus now, so I can't spawn 12 because I haven't got anywhere for them to dock. So yeah, I only give myself 6 ships this time. What is it? Did I give myself flyer X's? I thought I was only doing flyer A's. Oh, I gave myself X's by mistake. Well, you know, it's not like I was sticking exactly to the rules, was I? There was only really the flying through a sector before I'm allowed to repopulate my fighting ships rule that I stuck to religiously, shall we say. Majority. Oh, and and the making everybody hostile again by phoning them up and saying let's go to war. Yeah. So there was one ship in here waiting for us. Oh, and that fighting spirit I just had selected was a ship that attacked me that became abandoned after I damaged it enough, so we claimed it. Yeah, and here we go. Making sure everybody's hostile so that I don't just fly past friendly people. And yeah, it takes a while. So like I say, this sort of Battlestar Galactica, Star Trek Voyager type scenario would be something interesting maybe for the creator to program in themselves if they know how to do it. Because I'm assuming they do. They knew how to build the game in the first place. And program the game in the first place, so you know, it's whether they would want to do something like that. They might not. They might have better ideas for scenarios. Right. And I think we're 209. I think this is the last sector before the Sol Earth sector. So after this, we're in the sector that we're aiming for. So we've got 1 Battlestar left and 6 fighters. And I'm nowhere near close enough to be protecting the civilian fleet. Luckily, all my fighters are faster, so they've flown off to fight the ships that have come out. And I don't think they sent any... Did they send any... Oh, bandit. No. I can't see any obvious signs of... capital ships. I don't think they sent... Oh, yeah, as you can see, the Blackbird found the Sol system wormhole. Yeah, as I was saying, I don't see any capital ships. Yeah, I've lost a load of my ships again, as you can see. My defense fighters and defense frigates got wiped out, but that's fine because they kept those pirate factions busy while the civilian fleets entered the Sol system. And yeah, it was just a bit of a fly to Earth Now, did I get attacked? I think I got attacked, if I'm correct. I think I got decloaked. Yeah, here we come. Yes, here they come. Decloaking. So, I had 1,000 kilometers to go, or 1 kilometer to go, should I say. 1,000 meters, 1 kilometer to go to the wormhole. And a small fleet of fighters decided to attack me. We nearly lost the Pegasus as well. But we got there in the end. Yay. So yeah, we nearly lost the Pegasus, but we managed to get to the Sol system and the civilian fleet. However, this time, if I remember correctly, I did get chased through the wormhole, because fleets will chase you sometimes. I think it was the first sector they didn't bother chasing us, but this time they did. Where are they? I'm sure they come through in a second. There they are. Right. So, yeah, as I was saying, luckily, even though it was 5 or 6 ships, they were fairly weak ones themselves. I think there was 1 capital ship in there, and then all the other ships were the same type that I'd used for my civilian fleet. So that wasn't too bad. They could take them out because there was 50 of them and 5 of them. But there was 1 capital ship or something that I had to bring the Pegasus back to deal with. There on the right. Is it a destroyer? Or was it a destroyer or an overlord? You can see it on the right now. I think it's a destroyer. Ares class. Combat. Attack. What was it? Oh, protect me. Oh yeah. Was that the? Yeah, they were some of the abandoned ships that I claimed. I told them to protect the Pegasus. Now, there were, or there is, some... I think there's 1 or 2 factions in the Sol system, but luckily they're not in the way. So they don't come and attack. So it's just a case of flying over to Earth and claiming the victory of managing to do it, he says. Thunder A. Oh, they've got a Thunder class too. Now, did I choose that? Ooh, my alarm. It's that time already. Oh no. Luckily there's only about a minute left. Yep, civilian fleet is surviving, it is helping. We've got the Blackbird, we've got the Pegasus. Or the Pegasus? Right. That leaves us with basically flying over to Earth and claiming the victory. As you can see, the planets aren't technically there. They have an effect on the game. You can only build certain stations in planet sectors. You can only build certain stations near to... you can only build refineries, I think, in asteroid field sectors, and trade stations, and possibly orbital farms in sectors with planets. But the planets are only sort of in the background. You can't actually like land on them or crash into them or anything. In fact, if you fly too close trying to get to them, it will respawn you and say you can't go that way. They're there, but they're not there. So yeah. So that's why I went into the menu a minute ago to double check which way the ship was pointing, so I knew which way to fly the fleet. But yep, I think I was doing an abandoned Thunder class a second ago. I think I claimed that. And there, down to the left, as you can see, was another faction of bandits. But it didn't matter. We'd done what we set out to do. Granted, I could have made it harder, could have made it more interesting. I could have removed all the weapons or just turned off combat AI completely for the civilians. And I could have tweaked a few other settings here and there to keep the enemies, well, vicious. But we made it. The Galactica died, and the Pegasus survived, as did the Blackbird. But the Blackbird stayed cloaked for the whole time. So that wasn't a surprise. But yeah, this has been Interstellar Pilot 2. This has been Robidon, and I've basically been rambling. But I've been showing you one of the few mobile games that I actually do enjoy, because it's not really designed as a whale game. You can just buy it. Oh, it's actually free. You can buy God Mode, I think, on the mobile. But on Steam, last time I checked, £2, £3. So, have fun. See you next time.